Hello viewers, welcome to this lecture of gymnosperms. In this particular lecture, I shall be covering the economic importance of gymnosperm. The objectives of this lecture will be to know about the nature of the gymnospermous plant and of course to know about the economic importance of different gymnospermous group and their uses. Actually, the group of gymnosperms, they include plants like conifer, cycads, gnetophytes and ginkgo. And the gymnosperm is actually coming from the Greek word naked seed, and this particular group of gymnosperm is definitely the ancestor of present day angiospermous plant. If we consider the major characteristic features, of course they are naked seeded, they may include small and large trees, they are differentiated into root, stem, leaves, they are true spermatophytes having seed, and of course the flowers are represented by cones or fructifications or sometimes microsporophyll and megasporophyll, and the seeds have longer period of viability and they do not have any specific dispersal method. We consider the economic or ecological importance of cycads first. To start with, we consider the medicinal uses of Cycas. Actually, the seeds of Dioon edule, which is just looking like coconut or small coconut, they are having typical exudates which is useful in treatment of neuralgia in Latin American countries. The Cycas seeds which are young, they look like green coconut and they are very easily used in the treatment of stomach disorder or bowel syndrome, that is irritable bowel syndrome. The fructifications, the male cone, they produce gum, and this gum can be used in the manufacturing of medicines against malignant ulcer. Cycas pectinata stem, which looks like a small coconut stem, if it is pounded, it can be used in treatment of hair or diseased hair root. Cycas circinalis pollen grains, they are typically yellow colored large pollen grain. They are having some narcotic property and can be used in painkiller. The unopened leaves of Cycas revoluta, they just look like armor and they can be used in blood vomiting or flatulence. We come to some use of industrial adhesive. The gum exuded from the injured petioles of Cycas siamensis actually produce this adhesive with which industrial gums are produced. Similarly, the exudate from the leaves of Encephalartos, they are producing an adhesive and they are also having medicinal importance against reptile bites or cancer. Cycas also produced fibers from the dried leaves, and the leaves of their various species can be used in the manufacturing of commercial mat or hat or straw-like products. They produce oil, and this oil is mixed with polysaccharide like sago. The Cycas revoluta produces that, and we can see that scale-like leaf of Podocarpus is also producing typical oil which is having medicinal importance. There are some minor uses like the dried Cycas leaves are decoratives in parts of Asian countries, and the coralloid roots of Cycas like Encephalartos, they do have anabina and other nitrogen fixing organisms, and they can be used in the ecological upliftment of degraded soil. So this is a very important ecological importance of Cycas. The fresh or the dried leaves of cycads are used in religious ceremonies in parts of Goa, Andaman, parts of Australia and also in Philippines. Now we come to the economic importance of conifer. Now this group of plant actually represent the Pinus and other associated species. We start with the importance in the form of timber. Actually, the Pinus plant is very big, and the Kauri pine, which is Agathis australis, is the largest timber producing tree in the world, and they produce huge amount of timber for the consumption of common people. Typically, it is white in color. This is the heartwood of Cedrus deodara, which is commonly known as Devdaru in Bengali. It is strongly scented and it is extensively used in the temperate region or in plain region also for making of door, window pane, electric pole, building model, boats, carriages, railway sleeper, etc. And it is a costly wood because of its white texture and scented property. And because of this particular scented property, it is not always easily destroyed by insects. This looks like flower, but it is not flower. Basically, it is the fructification or female cone of larynx. And this particular plant wood is used in the making of poles, boat, posts, railway sleepers, etc. And the larynx wood is actually durable than normal pinus wood. Different species of Abies and Picea, like the Abies pindrow and Picea smithiana, they are used in the manufacturing of soft wooden boxes, cases, and the Abies alba, which is also producing the white wood, is particularly used in the manufacturing of wooden musical instruments. Typically, this is the large tree and is called Pseudotsuga taxifolia. This white wood of Pseudotsuga is used in the manufacturing of plywood, and it is softwood, and present day plywood has taken up huge market share in developed and developing countries. This is the outer bark, but it is protecting the soft white wood of Pinus. And this particular white wood from different Pinus plant, Pinus wallaceiana, Pinus gerardiana, Pinus silvestris, they are all used in the manufacturing of railway wagon flooring, shipbuilding purpose, making of agricultural implements, doors, poles, frames and furniture. So, it is basically used for making different wooden articles all over the world. This is a typical Podocarpus plant, and it is also having a typical white wood used in the manufacturing of plywood, and also they are used in making of small vessels and slippers. The needle-like leaves actually is covering the stem, soft stem or soft woody stem of Juniperus virginiana, and they are helping in the preparation of high quality pencil and cigar boxes. Actually, the wood of a Pinus or conifer called Thuja plicata. This Thuja plicata, Thuja is also helping in the manufacturing of medicines, homeopathic medicines. But most interestingly, the Thuja plicata wood is having some antibiotic like molecules which is preventing its destruction from insect attack, and thereby it is considered as a wood for all purpose. There are two different plants, namely the Calitris verrucosa and Cycas obtusa. But this Calitris verrucosa is because of its softwood, it can be made into decorative furnitures. The Calitris verrucosa is actually a big tree which is very soft, and this softwood can be used in the manufacturing of decorative furniture because of its malleability. And at the same time, the wood of Cycas obtusa is used in the making of matchstick because of its soft texture. Actually, Taxodium distichum, which is typically an excurrent tree in the northern hemisphere, they are having high quality wood or timber, and they are used in the making of poles, beams, sleepers, doors, cooling towers, and also construction of greenhouses. Again, this twig belongs to a plant called Cryptomeria japonica. This is not a very big tree, but they produce high quality timber which is very commonly used in Japan in the manufacturing of furnitures, wooden panels, and also inside of buildings or building construction. We come to a very important plant which is Abies balsamea. This Abies balsamea is the source of Canada balsam, and this Canada balsam is obtained from the twigs and cones of the Abies plant or Abies balsamea plant, and it is used in the manufacture of this adhesive called Canada balsam, and this Canada balsam actually is used as a mounting media for microscopic slides. Not only that, they become hardened and they are used in the making of permanent slide. Why? Because they have same refractive index as that of glass. So, very commonly they are used to mount specimen along with cover slip, and they can produce permanent preparation for biological specimens. This wood is also used for the manufacturing of paper because of their soft texture and because of the typical shape. This Abies balsamea or Abies, other species of Abies, can also be used as Christmas tree. This group of plant actually produce resin. And what are resin? They are actually plant exudate, and they come out from the secondary wood of Pinus plant. And the conifer have resin gland or resin canal or resin cell, and they come out of the wooden stem, and they are used in the making of enamel, varnishes, papers, medicines, and most importantly, this resin include the turpentine, which is a soft oleoresin which is used all over the world in paint and adhesive industry. Considering the manufacturing of turpentine, actually the Pinus plant produces the crude gum, which contains two major components. 20% is gum turpentine and the less 80% is gum rosin. Turpentine again is producing two different products, the alpha pinene and the beta pinene, and then from the alpha pinene we get terpineol and camphor, which ultimately will give good solvent called dipentene, whereas beta pinene will produce myrcene, which is also having medicinal importance. We come to spruce gum. Actually, it is the gum produced by the spruce tree or the Picea rubens, and this gum actually comes out whenever there is a mechanical injury, as we can see in this slide. They have typical resin and they actually are used in softening of mouth, and they give a typical reddish color. So, they are having some medicinal importance and also in the manufacturing of paints. We come to another important use, which is the copal. Actually, the copal varnish is one of the finest varnish in the world, and it is coming from Kauri copal, which is the plant called Agathis australis. Agathis australis twigs and cone produces the copal. And what are copals? Actually, they are the hard group of resin which is coming from the fossil plant of this Kauri copal, and they are almost no oil and they produce hard elastic varnish, which is also very important for paint industry. Coming to another very interesting product, which is the sandarac. Sandarac is obtained from a particular plant called Tetralinis articulata belonging to Cupressaceae family, and the cone or the female cone produce the soft yellow resin having importance as an adhesive or in paint organic solvent. Another related product is amber. This also comes from Gymnospermus Pinus group of plant. It is basically a fossilized terpenoid resin obtained from Pinus succinifera. It is very hard because it is getting hardened and becomes brittle. The color is between yellow to brown. Sometimes it can be blackened, and it can be used in beads and for the manufacturing of artifacts including ornaments. And this particular resin that actually is produced by this plant Pinus succinifera may also have medicinal importance because they have succinic acid. And the weightage or value of this amber depends on the color, weight, purity and size. And the amber may be getting hardened and they can be used in covering a copper ware, or it can be exposed to light and it darkens and the value of the amber increases. Sometimes the amber is giving a typical odor, and this odor is helping in the manufacturing of incense sticks used in religious places like churches. A very important compound is tannin. This is the tannin compound, and this tannin actually is obtained from different angiospermous plant like Emblica or even in tea leaves. But tannin is also present in different gymnospermous plant, and they are present in Araucaria, Agathis and Dacrydium, or it is also present in Pinus, Picea and Sequoia. They have different uses which include the medicinal use. They are antiseptic, algicidals, astringents, anticarcinogenic. They may also have industrial use in the manufacturing of printing ink, in the manufacturing of tanning of leather or manufacturing of processed leather and preservative. Similarly, biologically, they inhibit lipid peroxidation or lipid destruction, inhibition of plasmin, or they are having negative role in lipolysis of fat cell, or sometimes they in excess can bring about lipolysis. So, tannin is equally important, and in the northern hemisphere great amount of tannin comes from the coniferous plant. Paper production is a very important issue. In the northern hemisphere it mostly comes from plants like Abies, pindrow and cryptomeria, and actually the woody trunk gives rise to the woody tissue from where the fibers are taken, and these actual fibers will be containing the elementary microfibril which are drawn into a typical mesh which will give the texture of the paper, and ideally this is a very good newsprint. So, low quality or low cost paper is also manufactured from cryptomeria and other coniferous plant. Similarly, the conifers also give rise to food or fatty oil. The seeds of Chilgoza pine, that is Pinus gerardiana, and other species like Pinus edulis, Pinus roxburghi, Pinus monophylla, their seeds are edible. Fatty oils obtained from Pinus sembra and Cephalotaxus drupacea is used in feeding purpose, and also they can be used in the manufacturing of paints or paint industry. Pinus have got a typical smell because there are a lot of phenolic compounds present in the oil, and these essential oils are obtained from Pinus group of plant or Araucaria. It is also obtained from other gymnosperms like Zamia and Ginkgo. It is obtained from Podocarpus and Thuja, and they are used in the making of perfumes in the perfumery industry and also in scenting of soaps. At the same time, they produce medicated soaps and medicated solution used in the treatment of skin diseases, gonorrhea, or even can be consumed in bronchitis infection. We come to the next group, which is Ginkgo. Ginkgo is also a living fossil because it has remained more than 6 million of years, and it is endemic to Korea and Japan. The Ginkgo biloba tree is actually a sacred plant all over China and Japan, and it is worshipped by the people. The endosperm of its roasted seed is edible, and the seed may contain some toxic alkaloid, and if consumed in excess because of its narcotic property, it can cause death. The kernel is also used in the making of Chinese medicine or aphrodisiac for different ailments related to stomach disorder. Extract of the leaves of Ginkgo biloba is also used in the treatment of cerebral disorder and also in vertigo. We come to the last group, that is Nitopsids, which include the two major plants, the ephedra and Nitum. The ephedra plant actually is economically important because it produces some alkaloids. The decoction of stem and root of several species of ephedra are used in the curing of syphilis and rheumatism in Russia. Ephedra gerardiana tincture is used in cardiac ailments and also in stimulating circulatory disability. Rhizome of Ephedra gerardiana is also used as a fuel in people of Tibet. As I was telling, ephedra produces the alkaloid ephedrine. Ephedrine is a drug which is actually used in temporary relief of shortness of breath because it is causing relaxation of the smooth muscle of the bronchus. So, it is an ideal drug used in bronchial asthma. Ephedrine at the same time is used in decongestion, that is, it is used as a bronchodilator and a decongestant and they are also helping in reduction of constriction of blood vessel, thereby helping in better movement of body fluid. The last important plant in this group is the nitum. Nitum is actually a most developed plant because it is connecting gymnosperm and angiosperm. Unlike other gymnosperm, it is not having typical cone where the cone is replaced by cupule. Nitum also has some economic importance. The seeds of Nitum nemon or Nitum latifolium, they are directly consumed after roasting. Young leaves and inflorescence of Nitum nemon and Nitum latifolium are cooked as vegetable and consumed. The fiber of Nitum nemon and latifolium are used in making of fishing net and rope. Nitum nemon on the other hand produces a pulp which is useful in paper manufacturing. Medicinal oil is obtained from Nitum ula, which is used in the treatment of rheumatism. And on the other hand, Nitum montanum is having some pesticidal property, is helping in keeping away insects. So thereby we can see gymnosperm as a whole is economically important, starting from Cycas, Conifer, then of course the ginkgo and the nitopsids. Every part of these plants are economically important, and to some extent they are even worshipped in some countries, and thereby though gymnosperms have less members, but they are highly beneficial for human beings and they actually help in ecological upliftment of the soil. Thank you.